I'm Christina Giordano, the founder of Sold, your go-to resource for soulful entrepreneurship. And my philosophy is this: people can no longer be sold to, they must be sold to. That is SOUL''. But in order to sell with soul, you have to be sold on yourself first. This is marketing and manifesting with nothing but the essence that is you. This is business that begins within. This episode is called When Your Signal Stabilizes, Everything Starts Responding. Now, as a reminder, this is just a preview of the full episode that is available on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Again, it's Sold by Christina Giordano. You can find the links to those in the description below. Now, for the past several seasons of the Sold podcast, I have described my own process and experience with the Sold approach. And this episode dives into what happens when life starts to meet you. This is where you have stayed in your essence long enough for reality to reorganize around you. In other words, this is where a stabilized internal state acts as a template for restructuring reality. The environment ceases to be an independent, chaotic force and instead becomes a mirror that reorganizes around the internal structure, which is the strongest, most stable signal. So let's refresh real quick on a few of the core principles of signal stabilization. The first is identity over circumstances. So life reorganizes when the internal self-concept remains stable, allowing the external world to act as a responsive field of information. The next is coherence over noise. High coherence signals, meaning those based on truth, aka your essence, are not diluted by noise, which enables the signal to act as a definitive blueprint for manifestation. The next one is traction follows signal. External opportunities and connections that feel strangely timed are in fact direct consequences of the internal system becoming coherent enough to interact with the world. This is where you are no longer a passive observer, but more like an active participant in reorganizing reality. And here's the thing: your signal isn't only your business message, it's your entire energetic field oriented toward what's true for you, your essence. It comes online for your business when you stop denying, doubting, and negotiating with the truth of your work, with the actual transformation you provide. It comes online across other domains in a similar way. When you stop negotiating with yourself, your body, your relationships, your money, your decisions, the way you show up are all oriented towards the same signal, the same truth. This is why in my last episode, there comes a point in the Sold approach when you no longer broadcast available for negotiation, and instead you broadcast available for alignment. When your signal is fully aligned toward what is true for you, everything changes. You no longer move based on what your external conditions are telling you. You move based on signal alone. That means you're no longer efforting, forcing, performing, persuading, convincing, or contorting yourself to move as you are expected. You're moving based on what's true. In this episode, I take you through how I've experienced how an essence-led signal reorganizes across domains. Now, as a quick preview of what that looks like, here are a few markers. Socially, low vibration or noisy relationships naturally drift away as they no longer can find a hook in your stabilized signal. Physically, the biological system, aka your nervous system, stops producing stress cortisol, leading to spontaneous health alignment. Mentally, time collapses. It occurs, and so what used to take months happens in days because you aren't fighting your own friction. I go into more depth within all of this in the full episode, but the point is this: when the signal is rooted in essence, it remains immutable, regardless of whether you are scaling a company or navigating a personal crisis. By centering an unchanging essence, you have a fixed point in a chaotic system. Essence doesn't care if the context is a balance sheet or a dinner conversation. The underlying frequency is identical. Reality has no choice but to reorganize because your internal signal refuses to negotiate with external variables. Enjoy this episode, and as always, be well and take care.